You have meticulously spent an entire lifetime accumulating vast wealth and building a magnificent financial empire that stands as an undeniable testament to your singular brilliance. Yet a single geopolitical crisis, a sudden unpredictable war, or a devastating systemic economic depression can completely annihilate decades of rigorous hard work in a matter of mere weeks. The modern global financial landscape is a highly volatile and ruthless theater, where traditional investment strategies fail spectacularly during severe macroeconomic crashes. You watch the relentless news of escalating global conflicts and unchecked inflation, realizing with chilling clarity that your current portfolio is dangerously exposed to massive macroeconomic forces entirely outside of your executive control. The ultimate terrifying nightmare for a sovereign leader is not simply missing out on a temporary market rally, but helplessly watching their hard-earned family legacy evaporate due to a catastrophic lack of absolute structural defense. The true global elite absolutely refuse to accept this terrifying level of vulnerability. They demand a mathematical architecture where their core principle is unconditionally protected against any disaster. The conventional financial industry constantly preaches the gospel of traditional diversification, usually recommending a standard mix of stocks and corporate bonds. However, history has repeatedly and brutally demonstrated that during a true liquidity crisis or a severe stagflation event, both of these asset classes can crash simultaneously. When the entire system catches fire, the standard correlation models completely disintegrate and your supposed diversification offers absolutely zero actual protection. You are essentially paying exorbitant management fees to financial advisors, who are merely guessing the weather while you are the one standing directly in the path of the hurricane. To achieve true financial immortality, you must permanently abandon these deeply flawed conventional models. You must adopt a ruthlessly pragmatic framework that does not rely on predicting the future, but instead mathematically guarantees survival regardless of which economic season arrives. You need a portfolio that thrives in inflation, deflation, prosperity, and absolute panic without requiring constant adjustments. Enter the permanent portfolio, an incredibly elegant and historically bulletproof architecture originally conceptualized by Harry Brown. This is not a speculative trading strategy, it is a definitive law of financial physics, designed specifically to preserve your principal through the most extreme global catastrophes. The strategy divides your wealth into 4 equal and strictly uncorrelated pillars holding exactly 25% in each category. You allocate 25% to broad market stocks to capture aggressive growth during periods of economic prosperity. You allocate another 25% to long-term treasury bonds, which act as an absolute parachute during severe deflationary crashes and prolonged depressions. This perfectly balanced foundation ensures that when one sector of the global economy inevitably collapses, another sector automatically catches the falling momentum. By mathematically eliminating the need to predict market movements, you achieve a state of profound psychological and financial invulnerability. However, the true genius of the permanent portfolio, and the exact reason it survives wars and systemic panics, lies in the remaining 50% of the allocation. During periods of hyperinflation, when fiat currency rapidly loses its purchasing power, and stocks violently stagnate, traditional portfolios bleed wealth silently. This is where the strict allocation of 25% physical gold becomes your ultimate financial shield. Gold is the eternal sovereign money that historically skyrockets when the public completely loses faith in government systems and central banks. Conversely, when the market experiences a violent liquidity crunch and absolute panic ensues, cash becomes the most valuable asset on the planet. By holding exactly 25% in pure cash or short-term treasury bills, you possess the ultimate dry powder. This cash buffer prevents you from ever being forced to liquidate your core assets at depressed prices and allows you to capitalize on generational opportunities. While the rest of the herd is facing margin calls, this four-part architecture: stocks for prosperity, bonds for deflation, gold for inflation, and cash for panic, creates an unbreakable financial ecosystem. It is a self-healing organism that automatically rebalances itself, effectively forcing you to sell high and buy low without ever relying on emotional human judgment. But knowing the theory is entirely useless if you do not know exactly how to execute it in the real world of high net worth asset management. How do you practically implement this strategy across multiple global jurisdictions to protect your family from geopolitical confiscation? What are the precise elite instruments required to hold physical gold without counterparty risk? If you configure this portfolio incorrectly using the wrong financial vehicles, you could still expose your legacy to devastating hidden taxes and institutional vulnerabilities. We are about to reveal the exact high-end execution protocols used by the world's wealthiest families to deploy the permanent portfolio and achieve absolute financial sovereignty. Are you ready to make your wealth mathematically immortal? Welcome to the elite execution phase of the permanent portfolio architecture. The most critical component for a high net worth individual is the precise deployment of the 25% physical gold allocation. Amateurs make the catastrophic mistake of purchasing paper gold or leveraged mining stocks, which defeats the purpose of an uncorrelated safe haven. To achieve financial sovereignty, you must strictly hold allocated physical bullion stored in secure private vaults outside the traditional banking system. Global elites prefer sovereign jurisdictions with strong property rights, ensuring their wealth remains immune to sudden governmental confiscation, capital controls, or the collapse of a single currency. By treating physical gold as immutable sovereign money rather than a speculative trade, you mathematically lock in your purchasing power against relentless central bank currency debasement and hyperinflation. The next operational mandate involves the precise configuration of your equity and bond pillars. For the 25% allocation in stocks, you must completely abandon the dangerous illusion of individual stock picking or high-fee active management. The strategy demands a broad market index fund that universally captures the total economic growth of prosperous nations, without exposing your legacy to the fatal risk of a single corporate bankruptcy. Similarly, the 25% bond allocation must be strictly confined to long-term sovereign treasury bonds, possessing the highest possible credit ratings. You must absolutely avoid high-yield corporate bonds because they act exactly like stocks during a severe liquidity crisis. Long-term treasuries are the only asset mathematically guaranteed to skyrocket in value during a deflationary depression, providing the exact inverse correlation needed to offset equity losses. The final structural component is the 25% cash allocation and the ruthless discipline of annual rebalancing. Cash is not a wasted asset, it is the ultimate financial ammunition during a market massacre. Holding pure cash or short-term treasury bills ensures you have immediate absolute liquidity when asset prices globally collapse. However, the true magic of the permanent portfolio is activated through the strict mechanical rebalancing process. Once a year, you review your four pillars. If stocks have surged to 35% of your total wealth, and gold has dropped to 15%, you mechanically sell the excess stocks and buy more gold to restore the precise equilibrium. This elegant mathematical protocol forces you to do what amateur investors cannot: You automatically take profits at the absolute market peak and buy distressed assets at rock-bottom prices, completely removing human emotion. Implementing this definitive mathematical architecture completely eradicates the psychological torment of modern investing. You will never again need to obsessively monitor global financial news, predict the unpredictable outcomes of geopolitical wars, or lose a single night of sleep over a sudden stock market crash. While the panicked masses are desperately liquidating their assets at catastrophic losses, you will remain in a state of profound sovereign stillness. You have transformed your family wealth from a fragile speculative gamble into an impenetrable financial fortress that structurally benefits from global chaos. The permanent portfolio grants you the ultimate luxury in life, which is absolute peace of mind. It allows you to redirect your immense executive energy away from financial anxiety and focus entirely on expanding your legacy and enjoying your golden years. You are no longer a victim of the economy, you are its silent master. It is time to step away from the chaotic casino of conventional finance and elevate your wealth management to the highest possible standard of global dominance. This masterclass is provided strictly for educational and informational purposes, offering you the sovereign framework to rethink your asset allocation. We strongly advise consulting with elite fiduciary professionals to tailor these immortal principles to your specific jurisdictional requirements. Do not let the next inevitable global crisis dictate the future of your family empire. Build your permanent portfolio today and secure your absolute financial independence against any storm. Please subscribe to our exclusive channel to join a distinguished global community of sovereign individuals who refuse to compromise on the safety of their legacy. Implement the law of perfect balance, remain perfectly unbothered by the noise of the masses, and stay eternally golden.